Hello and welcome to this new Heisenware video. Today I'm going to introduce to you dynamic groups or grouping, which is super useful and accelerates your work when you have repeated data structures that you want to visualize in a dashboard or an interactive application. For example, when connecting a shop floor with several machines in there. So let's jump right in. First of all, I need some data for my application. This is why I'm using the machine simulator here. I've got two machines and both of them have a get data function, which I'm executing every 2 seconds in order to receive data which looks like this. So metadata about the machine itself and the data coming from sensors from the PLC as you like. And there's a second machine doing the exact same thing with the same data structure. All right. And now let's look into grouping. In order to understand grouping, we have to design a user interface first. So I'm putting a status lamp here where I will be mapping the status of the machine, which is running, as you can see here. And I think we also have idle in the data and we have error in the data. So I'll be mapping this onto the status lamp later. Then I'm putting a value box for the name of the machine. So details don't matter too much. If I want to have a left aligned, then I'm putting a text box here for the temperature. Bold. There, and then we can take a circular gauge, or maybe I'm using circular gauge in all the other videos, so let's grab a linear gauge here and make it horizontal. Adjust the scale from, it's for the temperature, so let's say 32 or let's say 50 to 70, for example. I think it's somewhere in between. The data, increase the size. Okay, we have a temperature gauge now. Well, there you go. Last but not least, let's put a data list where we are going to visualize some of the machine's data, like the part name, for example, or the current order ID. The size, I bet, is enough. So, and we could already group all of that. However, what I will be doing is I will also put a card, which is basically a background of our group. So like this, looks good. And make sure this goes to the back. And now I can really group all of that and define it as a group. So what has happened is that basically a new kind of widget, a very custom and individual widget was created. And in a double click, it also opens the data binding and the look and feel settings. And as you can see, we find for data binding all the single widgets in there that we are using. Okay, now let's continue with the data. I'm adding a modifier here. And in this modifier, I paste something that I've already prepared, the JSON expression, which is taking the name of the machine, which is nested into the meta object here. And the status too, and the temperature, it's all coming from here. And then I will create an object inside this object with the order data and use the current order ID and the part name in here, which is also coming from the original data. So it's basically a subset of all the data that we have, and subset that our group can work with later. Okay, so I've created this object and I do the same over here with the other machine, which is the exact same data structure. In this case, so we have a second object here, but obviously, okay, no, they are both working in different orders there. and the name is different. Yeah. So let's close these two. And now what we have to do is we have to combine these two objects into an array, because the group will create a second tile, a second group basically, based on an array data. So let's take a combine function and combine the data from machine 2 and from machine, and from machine 1. I should probably do it the other way around. So let's combine the data from machine 1 and from machine 2 and execute the combine function whenever one of the two machines is sending new data, which is happening every 2 seconds in our case. So let's see what happens. And yeah, we have two objects now in an array. Good. Let's select the group and drag and drop this data onto our group. And as you can see, a second tile was created because it realizes there's two different machines, two entries of an array in our data. So it creates a second tile inside this group. And now we need to map our data. So here in the group widget settings, you'll find all the different sub-widgets, let's say, that are part of the group, beginning with the card, the status lamp, value box, linear gauge, and the data list. And now let's map some data. So we could also write properties or transform properties of the card, but we are not using this card. We just use it as a background. So let's start with the status map, where we pick the value as the property. It only has a value, and pick status from the original data. So both machines are currently running in green. That works. For the value box, we also pick value, and then we pick name. So machine 1, machine 2. Now you understand why I changed the order earlier. Otherwise, it would have been machine 2 and then machine 1. Let's continue with the linear gauge. It does offer a value and a sub-value, but we keep it with the value in this case and put the temperature. Live update of the temperature. And last but not least, the data list, which is expecting an object or an object of objects in this case. So let's pick the order data. There you go. This one is currently working on order 7122, and this machine is working on order 5291. Okay, let's start the test mode. It's updated with some live data. And as you can see, the temperature is changing. The machine state may change. It's simulated data, so I don't know. So already working. There you go. Machine 2 does have an error currently. Okay. And you may wonder if this couldn't be styled a bit better. Yes, it can. So there is a look and feel settings, and you can add spacing in both directions. We will add spacing here in the vertical direction for the mobile view. Even more maybe. And there you go. And you could now simply add more machines, prepare more of same looking data, and then simply extend the combine function with another input here. Insert the third machine. I could simulate it real quick with our machine number 2. So we have 3 machines. There it is. Another tile of our group, and suddenly the screen also becomes scrollable. So it's all automatically handled for you. Absolutely no work for you to build these kind of applications. All right, that was grouping. I hope you liked it. And if you have any questions or if you need support while building these apps, please reach out to us. We are very happy to have you. Thank you. Bye-bye.